This this never gets old. In 2020, the human race finally became a Type 1 civilization, and from there, nothing was ever the same. Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Lobo. The channel is called ZooPF Visual Effects. Of course, this is a visual effects channel. For those of you who are new to the channel, if you actually enjoyed that first 45 seconds, please like and subscribe. It always helps me make more videos like this. For those of you who are actually visual effects artists, hopefully you'll learn a few tricks and trade here and go out there and create something even more cool, okay? So today I want to share with you guys how I created that 45-second scene that you guys saw at the start of the video, and we're going to bring some 3D mesh into real-time environment and try to make sure that they actually look that they're part of that environment. Plus, I'm going to share with you guys a few tricks and trades here to make things look real, okay? So download the folder under the description tab so that we can get started. Alright, let's get started. Create a new composition, and let's just go ahead and call that ship and ring, which totally sounds like a dish at a fast food restaurant, which is awesome. I'm gonna keep this 4K only because my footage is 4K. If you guys can't do that, just downscale the 4K footage to 1080p, okay? Let's go to layer, new. We're gonna create a new solid, and same thing, we're gonna call that ship and ring. Click OK. Leave everything at 4K or 1080p for you. Go to effect, go to video, Copilot, element. Okay, once you're here, go back to our project and it's bringing the live footage. Here it is. So in your folder, it should be right there. Okay, double click on that and just drag it down to our already made composition. Go to about between 15 and 20 seconds, click shift, drag that down to there. Same thing with your solid. Same thing up here. And let's zoom into what we are doing. Once we're here, go back to the start. Now, go to element 3D, click scene setup, and we're gonna bring in our ship. The ship is right there, okay? Double click on that. Click OK and click normalize size. Now the ship has been unwrapped and it has been brought into Quixel, and I put some 4K professional textures on it, okay? So that's tip number one. You want any 3D mesh to match your environment, you have to make sure the textures are as high of a resolution as you possibly can, and you have to use a professional software. Either you can do it through Photoshop, which would take forever, or you can go through Quixel. Invest into Quixel. It'll be the best investment you've ever made, okay? That being said, I'm going to texture it right now. Go to body map and find your folder, of course. There it is. And I want you guys to put in specular and albedo and click undraft textures. Go to your glossiness, take it down to about 50, okay? And click on glossiness, bring the glossiness texture in, and bring in your normal map in. There you go. Once it's like this, let's zoom in. As you zoom in, the texture is high quality that it looks great even when you're close to your 3D mesh, okay? And that is how you're going to sell your shot. Alright, now let's go ahead and continue to texture everything. Because it is unwrapped, once again, it's just one texture for the whole entire ship. Alright, so that's the beauty of it, guys. I went through the hard work to do all of this for you guys. So one, you would understand my process, and two, so that you would have this for free, and you know, it's professionally done for you. Now let's go to a light presets, go to physical, and this came with the element 3D, okay, so you should have that. Double click and let's go to illumination. Let's take down to about right there, okay. Now I'm gonna do the same thing for my engine on the inside, so go up here, double click here, done. Now let's go and take care of our landing gears. Did the ship come with landing gears? Absolutely. Did I take them out? Absolutely. If you don't need something in a shot, take it out. Save time, save energy, save unnecessary CPU and GPU usage. That's the philosophy here. Okay, same thing, normal map, take that down to 50, and I want to match my landing gear pads to my hull here, so go to diffuse and go down to output levels and take it down to about right there. Okay guys, the last thing we have to do is the window. Go to basic settings, take it down to about right there, take it down to about right there, scroll down, go down to your advanced force opacity 50%, click OK. Once we have it here, what I want to do is I want to create a camera for it, because we are not living in a 3D environment, but we are living in a real life environment. We just use the 3D camera to move our ship around, and when it's time to move the ship, then you'll use a node to control your movements. So I'm gonna move this forward, I'm gonna make it go like that, and then I want to go back down to my scene setup, and I want to crank it up to 200. Click OK. There it is. Back it up just a tiny bit, move it up just like that. Just like that. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, now let's create a light for it. Tip number 2, your light has to match your environment as best as you can. Okay, so when you create your light, this would be at 100. It was at 30, but it's at 100. I took it back to 100 because I want to show you guys why you need to take it back to 30 in a few seconds. So click OK. Now go to view number 2, zoom in, make sure you're from the top, click on your light and grab your light and move it to the center of our mesh. Why the center? Because it's a cloudy day. The light is coming from above, but there's no specific direction, and so we have to match our environment light. Okay, and as I did this already, the ship already looks like it's part of the scene, which is great. Our next thing that we need to do is shadows. So 1, your texture on your 3D mesh has to be high quality. 2, you have to match the lighting of your environment. 3, you have to create shadows. Alright, let's go back to our element scene. Just close this, go to your master folder, go to create, and let's bring in a box. I mean, you could have just brought in, you know, a plane if you wanted to, but I always prefer the box. Make it large enough so that it'll fit the ship as best as possible and even more. Okay, now go to your material and make sure you click here, match shadow. It disappeared, but it's still now seen. Click OK, and now watch the magic. Go to render settings, go to shadows, click enable, boom, just like that. Now let's make that 4K. Okay, now go back to your light, go to light settings, and now take it to 30. Alright, but the edges are still pretty hard and that doesn't look real. How do we make that look real? Very easy. Go down here to your blur radius and take that to 50. Boom, just like that. Okay, so now let's go back to our one view and let's ask ourselves, does this shadow look real or is it too dark? Now if it's too dark for you, all you guys gotta do is go here and just take it down to 20. There you go, that looks a bit more real. Okay, so 1, textures have to be high quality, professionally done. 2, you have to match the light of your environment. 3, create any type of shadows that are within your scene. Okay, and so this is and was my workaround on how I created this scene here, making this ship as best as possible match the environment. And of course, the second thing you do after that is you color grade it. Okay, you color grade it to make sure that everything is as one. Okay, now you might be asking yourself, hey man, how did you create these very cool heat distortion here? All right, two ways you can do that. So one, you can use a displacement. I believe it's turbulent displacement. Let me double check just to make sure. Yep, you can use that to create the heat displacement, or you can go to After Effects and go down to Video Copilot, and if you guys actually bought the heat distortion from Video Copilot, you can use that and not use that, which is way better than the displacement. Okay, so the way I did that was very simple. Go to layer, we're gonna grab a new adjustment layer and just put it on top here. Okay, then you're gonna throw your heat distortion on top of that. Okay, once it's here, go here and just create a new mask wherever the ventilation shaft is on the ship, and that's pretty much it. Okay, and you just mask that. So if you're like, I can't see my mask, it's hard to see, just double click on that. Double click on it, it'll take you to the adjustment layer itself and just, you know, form it. So that looks pretty good right there. All right, now go back here and there it is. Okay, so what you can do from here is, you know, crank up things that you want. You know, take that to 30. Okay, let's take that to 30. Let's take the heat amount to, you know, this is way too much at 100. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it down to about 30, and you know that looks pretty good right there. All right, and so all you have to do from there is, as your ship is moving, you know, you just click P on your adjustment layer and position your mask wherever the ship is moving, so that you can create this right here. Okay, so I put a mask here, and I put one here, and I put one there, and I put one over there, and as the ship was moving, I just moved the mask along the movement of the ship. All right, it was a 2D solid on a 3D mesh. All right, and it worked. Once again, if you can save time and effort and do things in 2D in a 3D environment and real life environment, do it. Okay, so that takes care of part one, creating an environment that makes sense. Okay, so once again, one, texture. Your texture has to be high quality. Two, your lighting has to match the environment. Three, you have to create shadows wherever they are. And four, if you can cheat shots, you cheat shots. All right, that takes care of part one. All right, in part two, we are going to create Earth and the ring here inspired from the video game Halo. Of course, this ring has, it does not even look like the Halo ring, but it was for a sci-fi shot, so I thought I'd create something cool too. Okay, all right, let's get started. We're gonna create a new composition, and we're gonna put it right here. And for this composition, let's just go ahead and call it Earth and Halo ring. I'm gonna keep everything at 4K since I already started with that. Let's go into a new solid, same thing, Earth and Halo ring. Click enter, go down to effects, Video Copilot, element, click scene setup. Once we're here, create a new folder, and we're just gonna call that master folder. Click enter, and within that master folder, we're gonna create two folder, and we're gonna call that Earth. And if you're wondering how can I change the letterings of the folders, you just double click on it. Okay, so here, double click on that and it takes you there. All right, so the second folder, we're gonna call that Halo ring, and click enter. Let me fix that really quick. That's it. We're gonna start with the Earth. For the Earth, go here to create, click on sphere, crank it up to 300, and let's go and take the segments to about 30. And let's go down here, optimize mesh. What happens here is, look here when I click on optimize mesh, boom, wow, that looks good. All right, that's what you want to do. You want to optimize meshes left and right to make sure that you're saving CPU and GPU power. Okay, That being said, let's go and texture it really quick. Of course, Earth is not this smooth, it's really bumpy, but we do whatever we want. So let's just make that happen. So find your folder wherever it's at, wherever you put it, and let's just go ahead and click on that folder Earth, and let's bring in this 10K map, and they'll tell you it's gonna shrink it down and say yes. Andrew, if you're listening, how about we can go all the way to 16K? Just saying, it would be very cool. Click OK, click OK. Click here to undraft this so you can see it better. Too much gloss, take the gloss down to 25%, take your environment multiplier to 3%. Looking good. Once we're here, let's go and bring in not the illumination yet, let's go and bring the normal map. It's right here. Same thing, is gonna tell you it needs to shrink it down, just say yes. And what you want to do now is you want to bring in some lights in. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring some lights, and they're right here. But what I want to do is I want to crank it down to about right there and click OK. Now your lights will come on once you go to your illumination tab and just click 25%, or you can go more than that. Okay, it's really up to you. For now, let's just say 50%. Now when you say 50%, it's gonna light almost everywhere. Okay, so when you're creating the scene, you're just gonna have to decide where you want these lights to come on and how you want this to blend into your scene. All right, but just so you know, there's lights within the Earth and the textures and the normal map too. Okay, let's go ahead and create our clouds really quick. Same thing, let's crank that up to 30 or segments. I'm gonna scale it to 301, and once I'm here, I'm going to bring in the clouds, which is right there, just like that. Okay, once it's right there, I want to take my glossiness to about 10%. I want to bring my environment multiplier to 0, scroll all the way down to your advanced blend mode and do screen. Once you're right here, that looks great, but you know, I want the clouds to have more depth to them, and I want them to look more white. So all I'm going to do is click Ctrl D to duplicate, and I'm going to duplicate that 4 times. And just by doing that, as you have seen it yourself, it's given a depth and it looks like the clouds are thicker. All right, and so what I want to do now is I want to make the first 2 part of auxiliary channel 2, and I want to make the last 2 auxiliary channel 3, and then I want to make Earth auxiliary channel 1, because I want to be able to control everything in After Effects just using the auxiliary channel. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have these 2 move faster than these 2, and that's going to give it more depth and realism to Earth. All right, now what is missing? What's missing on this planet is a gloss on the ocean. Okay, now if I actually took Earth to Blender and I colored ID'd it and I took it to Quixel, I would have been able to create some gloss that would match properly to the ocean, but time was an issue. I didn't have time for that, so I did it the easy way. Okay, so because I knew that my shot was not going to require people to see the ocean, so that's why I did it like this. Once again, saving time if you don't need something. Once it's like this, click OK, and it should look something like this. Okay, let's go and create a new camera for it really quick. Leave it at 35mm, and let's go ahead and zoom into it, and there it is, just like that. All right, so let's go ahead and go straight to our auxiliary channels and start to control things that we think should be happening. Okay, so just for fun, let's go ahead and move the Earth toward the United States. There it is, like that. And let's go ahead and move the clouds on channel 3 out this way and moving that way. Actually, that's too much moving out. I'm gonna keep it up like that, and right there, that looks pretty good actually. Okay, and so now let me show you what I'm talking about. So open channel 2, and the rotation, we're gonna set a keyframe for the Y on channel 2 and channel 3. Oops, that's the one. and we're gonna go down to 10 seconds, okay, and we're going to say this will be at -63, okay, and this is going to be at -2, actually -1.5. Now watch what happens. It's mimicking how real clouds move, because when you look at clouds, some clouds are moving faster than other clouds, okay? And so by just mimicking that behavior of clouds, we just gave this earth more realism, okay? And so once again, if you can cheat shots with 2D solids on the 3D mesh, you make it happen, all right? But the truth is, to have made this look even more real, if these clouds were actually 3D clouds, it would make everything look more real. And that's something I would be willing to allow my CPU and GPU to take on to give it more realism, all right? But for now, this looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and unclick that, bringing our ring from our folder, click OK, normalize the size and make that 50, okay? Once it's at 50, zoom in on it, and we're gonna texture it right away. So find your textures, of course, and mine is right there. One texture for everything. There will be a small part that you're gonna have to use a different type of texture, but we'll talk about that in a few seconds. Bring the gloss, bring the map, normal map. Okay, there it is. Make that 30% and make the glossiness 25, maybe 30. Bring the environment multiplier to about 70, okay? And for the inner, bring the gloss down to 15, bring the environment multiplier to 25, and that's what it's supposed to look like, okay? Just like that. Pretty cool, right? All right. And what I also want to do is I want to make this a little bit darker, so I'm going to put it about right there, okay? But it's up to you guys. You guys can go dark or not, all right? Up to you. Once we're here, I want to bring in another ring, same thing, normalize the size, but this time I want to make that 52, and let's move it up just as what it looks like. 52 looks pretty good. And same thing, we're gonna texture it. So there it is. There it is. There it is. And same thing. Oh, I totally forgot what it was. 3070. Okay. There you go. On the inner, what I used was Video Copilot's Pro Shader, okay? I just went to the brick and I chose this one, and then what I did was on the UV repeat I went 100, and then I went 100 on the other side too, okay? And it gave me that effect right there. And once I had that effect, I went to my normal map and I did 100 as well. There you go. And then it gave me a different effect, okay? And from there, I took the glossiness to about 15. I took my multiplier, environment multiplier to about 50, and that's the effect that I got from the inside, okay? Once you're here, all you have to do is duplicate that, bring this down, and just try to match it as best as you can, okay? It doesn't have to be, well, for yours, make sure yours look pretty good, okay? But for me, I'm just gonna keep it like this. Once it's like this, I want to bring it back into After Effects, but first I'm going to move this down. I'm going to throw that in group 2, okay? Then I'm going to open that up and I'm going to assign them each an auxiliary channel. So that's going to be auxiliary channel 3, 2, and the inner one's going to be auxiliary channel 1, okay? Once that's done, click OK. Earth will disappear and the ring will appear. We're going to use the same camera to just see what is going on, okay? So there it is right here, and once again, if it's lagging, I'm just gonna purge everything, but it shouldn't be lagging, and it's not lagging. So I'm gonna zoom in really quick, and there it is right there, and that looks pretty good. Okay, now the one thing we haven't done in the scene yet is to light it up, but I didn't want to put a light in yet because I just wanted to show you guys my workflow. All right, once it looks like this, let's go ahead and just, oh my gosh, my head, having a headache moving it around like this. Okay, so what I want to do now is let's hope that our auxiliary channels are going to work properly. So 1 is 1, we don't want that, we just want 2, and we want 3. But first I am going to save this really quick in case if it crashes, I'll still have it and just start from there. So in the rotation here, let's see if it works, and it does work, and that's magic. All right, so okay, I'm gonna move this up about, I'd say, right there. All right, and I'll leave the other one where it's at. And so I'm going to click here, and the rotation I'm gonna click here. And so at 10 seconds, let's say I want this to spin about right there, and I want that to have gone about right there. Okay, so watch what happens. All right, that's pretty cool, right? You can do it this way, or the second way, which is how I did it, is you can put a expression. And so let's go ahead and go here, group 2, auxiliary channel, channel 2, and rotation. Click Alt and click on the Y and type in time 1, because I wanted to spin very slow. So whoops. I click enter. There you go. And watch what happens. Okay, so we're just gonna scroll and see, there it is. No keyframes, and it just goes by itself. Okay, so the best way to do that, honestly, is just to write an expression. Unless if you need to write, you need to do keyframes, and that's okay too. All right. So now that we have that, I'm just gonna leave it like this. Now what I want to do is I want to go back in my scene setup, and I just want to, you know, put the halo ring in there and making sure that it's centered properly and it's not coming out anywhere. Okay, once it's like this, I'm gonna bring it back to channel 2, group 2, click OK. But I also want Earth to show up. Let's make sure that I clicked on Earth. So let me go back in my scene setup. Yeah, Earth is on 2, and so the reason why we're not seeing anything is because we need to zoom out. Okay, there it is right there, and my ring is on the inside. So what I need to do now is, because I am on channel 2, group 2, I'm just gonna take it out, and there it is right there. Okay, and so the United States is over here, so what I didn't want to do is I want to make it go the other way. Here it is, just like that. It's popping out this way, and what I want to do now is flip it over, go to my rotation. Oh, not this one, it's this one here. Okay, just like this, and I want it to go a little bit higher up, right there. There you go. Okay, and I want it to be more on that side, so I'm going to move it more on that side, just like that. Okay, so that's pretty much how you do it. Alright, once it's like this, then it's just a matter of you guys deciding if you want it to look like mine or if you want it to look totally different. Okay, and so now what we need to do also is put a light for it. So let's create our light. Keep everything where it's at, and there it is. Our light now is going to light a whole entire scene. Alright, so the United States is here, so I'm gonna bring that, I'll bring my light a little bit closer. Just like this. Okay, I'm gonna go back to view 1, and is, just like that. Okay, and so now it's just a matter of playing with where you want the ring to be, you know, how you want it to be positioned. Do you want it to be like this, or do you want it to be flipped around? It's really up to you guys. Okay, so once again, I'm just showing you guys my workflow so you guys have an idea of how I did it. Okay, and so now that we have that, the last things we need to do is just, you know, give it some shadows, give it some ambient occlusion like this. I'm gonna say 6. There you go. And then shadows right here, and then I'm gonna say 4K. There it is, just like that. And all right, see, it's got shadows. It's lit properly from a light which act as a sun. Okay, and you guys can get closer to if you want, and there it is. Alright, so the last thing I want to show you guys is how I move the 3D mesh either in the real life environment or the 3D environment. So all you have to do is you move your meshes through a null object. Okay, so create a null object and then double click on that. Actually, don't double click on that. Click enter and let's call that null for ship. Click enter and make that 3D and open it up, and also open the your group 1 of element 3D up. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna be matching these numbers here to these numbers in the null. Okay, very simple. So all you have to do is click Alt and click on here and pig whip it to the position, and on the Z click Alt and also pig whip not to the position but to the Z here, just like that. Okay, once you get here, click Alt on that and pig whip it to the X. Same thing for the Y, and of course same thing for the Z. Okay, just like that. Okay, once you have that going, and let me show you how that works. Okay, so let's say from here to 5 seconds it's going to pivot. Okay, so let's click on a Y, 5 seconds, and we're gonna make it go yep, that's the way I want it to spin. Oh, okay, it's slow right now because I have this, so I'm gonna unclick that. Okay, and I'm gonna make it spin about right there. So let's watch what happens, and there it is. You know, it's spinning, it's spinning, it's spinning, it's spinning. That's fantastic. And from here to about 8, I say it's gonna go up high. Okay, it's gonna go up. So I'm gonna click on my position, and I'm going to just make it go up, just like that. Okay, so once we get here, my camera is gonna go up. Did the ship go higher up? Yeah, it went further up than it's supposed to. So let's just bring the ship back down by right there. All right, from here it's right there, and at the same time, because we will see the ship here from here to there, let's say that it's deciding to spin. It's gonna go this way, so I'm gonna set a keyframe here, and okay, I'm gonna click 0 here. I'm gonna set a keyframe here, and I'm gonna set a keyframe there, and let's say about right there it's going to spin. So we'll make it spin like this, and we'll make this turn around this way, and we're gonna make it go up like that, and it's gonna be spinning the other way, just like that. And let's make it go like this. Now you're asking yourself, hey, what is this? It's the shadow. Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to go back to our scene setup here, and we need to make the shadow into group 2. Okay, once you click that, the shadow will remain locked down there. So check this out. All right, and now as it goes up, see, it's locked. Okay, so once it gets here, it does its spinning thing. Awesome. And from there you just make it go, you fly that way. So the best way to do that is to go to 2, and what you want to do is you just want to make it go flying this way, right? So once you're here, click on your null, and let's see which way this goes. This goes backwards, and so we want it to go flying this way. Okay, so you just set this up from here to right there, you just make it fly, okay? Just like this, just fly like that. All right, so let's quickly take a look at that. So from here to here to here to here to here, it's spinning, and then once it gets here, it goes up, and then the camera goes, hey, where is it? The camera pans up, and the ship is still moving up with the camera, and it's pivoting, and once here it goes boom, it flies out. All right, it's pretty simple, it's pretty easy, and that's how I did it. Now it's the same concept for the other scene too, okay? So once we created our scene here and we already have the null in our ship, all we have to do is go up here, click copy, bring it back to your other scene, and just click edit and just paste it, okay? Once it's here, we can use the same thing, but what you have to do first is make sure that you delete all of these, because we're gonna have new keyframes for that, okay? So I'll just click here, and here's the ship, and once again the ship is already out there, so all you have to do is bring it back to you. So let's say the Z, actually let's move it here and just, you know, do the rotation however you want the ship to go, bring it down, bring it up. It's really up to you guys, okay? It's really up to you guys. And so once you're here, same thing, control it using the null, and that's pretty much it. Now you might also be asking me, okay, how did you get the other shot? Very simple, you just create a new camera, control D, or you can go up here and just, you know, new and camera, and just make sure you elongate your solid here wherever you want it to be. So let's see, this was for the first scene, the 15-second was here, and we're moving on to the other side. Now on the other side, now we just want to move our camera, and we're gonna pivot that around, okay, so that we can see what is going on. Okay, so there it is. Now the camera is being moved to the other side, and now you might be asking yourself, where is my ship? Your ship is on the other side right now, so all you have to do is bring it back wherever you feel like it should be brought back to, and that's pretty much how you make this work. Okay, it's very easy, it's very tedious, but you know, it works. Alright guys, let's recap really quick what we did today. So in order to bring any 3D mesh into real life environment, we have to focus on 4 things. 1, textures. Your textures have to be high quality, so it creates realism. 2, lighting. You have to light your 3D mesh according to your environment, very important. 3, shadows. Wherever the sunlight is hitting, that shadow has got to show up, it's got to look real, okay? And 4th, last, you gotta color grade. Once you have everything in place, you color grade your whole entire shot so it looks like it's part of one shot. Okay, moving on to the Earth. For the Earth, honest truth, the best way to create a realistic Earth is to use a 3D modeling software. So many more tools to make that real. But that being said, in After Effects, what we used was high resolution textures. Okay, we had the Earth textures, we had a normal textures, and we also had some lighting textures for the Earth, and we brought some clouds in. Now I knew that the clouds for me was going to be the key to create that realism, because no one's gonna get close to the Earth to see if it's real, but if the clouds look pretty real, then the illusion has been solved. So what we did is we duplicated the clouds 4 times, and then we made sure that 2 clouds would be in auxiliary channel 2 and the other 2 would be in auxiliary channel 3, and the Earth would be in auxiliary channel 1. And by making some clouds move faster than the others, we created that realism. And as we duplicated the clouds, it also gave the clouds some depth, and that was important. Okay, the ring itself. For the ring, I think what sells the ring is the normal bump on the ring itself. Okay, if you get close to the inner here, if you get really close to it, it doesn't look real. So that's why the ring is only to be seen from a far distance. Okay, but what gives it some realism is the normal map here, and so when you zoom out, it looks super good. Okay, so that's that for the ring. And how did we move our ship? We moved our ship using a null object, and we connected the null object position X, Y, and Z from the element 3D solid into the null solid. Okay, and we use the null as the main master controller for our 3D mesh, and that was very important. Once you understand this concept, you can use the same concept into this scene as well. And remember guys, we have to match the ship size, so it's going to be super tiny, so make sure you know where the ship is. Okay, that being said guys, if you found this tutorial helpful, you guys know what to do. Like and subscribe, and it always helps me make more videos like this for you guys. However, if you found this tutorial was too fast, it did not help you, you actually wanted to see a 2-hour tutorial how I created every single little thing, leave a comment down below, let me know, and I can create that tutorial just for you guys too. Okay, I've done that in the past and I'm willing to do it again. Once again, my name is Lobo, and you have been part of my ZooPF Visual Effects channel. Thanks a lot guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye now.